warriors were inside. So the Trojans brought the horse within their walls. And then at night, when everybody was sleeping, all the Greek warriors came out of the Trojan horse and burned the city down, and they took it over. That's why they call it a Trojan. So this piece of malware is something you think you want. So as an example, you may go to your favorite website and there's a movie you want to watch or a clip, something that you want to watch. And you click on it and nothing happens. You click again. And then it says, in order to watch this movie, you must download our video player. Okay? So that is something you think you want, right? I want to watch this movie, but in order to watch this movie, I have to download a player. That's a Trojan. Okay? It's something that masquerades as something you want or something useful that can help you. All right? And then it contains malware in it. Okay? So think of the Trojan horse. This is the same thing. It's a Trojan, and inside of it are various types of malware. It could be a virus inside of it. It could be a worm. It could be a multitude of various types of malware. So it carries malware with it. Okay? It entices you to download it because it makes you think it's something you want. But it's not. Inside of it is all this malware that now runs out and starts destroying your computer. So that's a Trojan that masquerades. A logic bomb. This is another type. So what a logic bomb do is it's malware that's designed and intentionally inserted into a system that will set off a malicious function when certain variables are met. Now those variables can depend on who created it, right? As an example, if I just press Control-Alt-Delete on my computer, that locks my computer. But if I have a logic bomb that is designed to infect your machine when you press Control-Alt-Delete, then it will. So a logic bomb is set on any variable. And again, those variables depend on the creator of the application. But it's variable. Something has to happen on your machine. I may click twice. That could be a variable. I may, at 10 o'clock, right? Just simply having my time on my computer set to 10 o'clock could be a variable. Okay? There's many things that can happen. And it is designed by the creator. So the creator will design what that logic is and what that variable is. Okay? That's basically how it works. And there's many, many various types of logic bombs. Typically, it will happen in a database for coders. If something doesn't happen on a certain day, then the logic bomb may come in and erase the database or something like that. Okay? It's usually designed to destroy data, but there's so many different variables that they're hard to list. The important thing to remember about a logic bomb is that it's intentionally inserted and it launches when certain variables are met based on logic. Okay? Backdoor. Okay, so backdoor is very, very important because what a backdoor does is it gives the bad guys, the black hats, the ability to get into your system. Okay? Think of a backdoor in a home. You have your front door, that's where your visitors or you go through, and then you have your back door, right? That's in the back of your house or the side of your house or within your garage. It's another way in. So a backdoor is an undocumented process of gaining access to a machine, right? Designed to access without being detected. So I want to install something on this computer called a backdoor that gives me access to this computer without you knowing, okay? Because if you know I'm accessing your computer, you're going to stop me, right? You're going to try and do everything you can to prevent me from getting into that computer. Remember yesterday we talked about adding layers of security, right? We have our target and then we add layers. Okay? So what a backdoor does is it tries to get in through these layers so you don't know. Okay? It's going to create something that allows it in and out without your layers of security seen. Okay? It doesn't want you to detect it. And it wants to have the ability to come in and out of your network anytime it wants without you noticing. Or in your computer without you noticing. That's a back door, okay? Next one is a rootkit. Now, the back door and the rootkit typically go hand in hand. They're friends, okay? If you have a rootkit or a back door, that's pretty much, they go together, okay? A rootkit is designed for stealth rootkits to hide specific processes or programs and provide level. You're very familiar with root, right? Root gives you admin access to a system. That's what that is designed to do, okay? It's a kit. It's a form of malware that has many things involved with it that will take your accounts and get privileged access. So it may steal my account, okay? I may have a rootkit on this machine, and when I log in, it's going to steal my account information, and then it's going to elevate my privileges, okay? It's going to take me from a regular user to an admin user, or a regular user to root account. And it's going to steal mine because I'm a normal user on this computer. And that's also avoiding detection. If I create an account that says bad guy, we're going to see it. We're going to notice it, and we're going to try and stop it. But if I use an account that's you, or that's me, or the 202 that we use, right? That's a normal account that they gave us to access this system. I'm going to use that account, and then I'm going to try and use my various rootkit tools to turn it into a root account or an administrator account, okay? That's the rootkit. And those two usually, like I said, work hand in hand because it's going to install the back door, and then it's going to give me admin access to this machine at all times as a normal account. So you can't see me because I want you. If I'm using the account 202, that's a normal account. They allow us to use that account for this computer. So by doing so, our security controls aren't necessarily stopping account 202 or users that are supposed to be on there. So those two go hand in hand. A lot of times what will happen too is the Trojan will be the one, is the malware that will deliver the rootkit and deliver the back door. Remember, that packs all sorts of malware in it. So you'll download the Trojan, you'll launch the Trojan, and then the back door will come on, and it'll create access into your computer, and then it'll start the rootkit, which is going to get and elevate privileges. So I have admin access. If I have a regular user account on this computer, there's some things I can do and some things I can't do. But if I'm an administrator or I'm root, then I have full access to the computer. I can do whatever I want. I can create files. I can infect files like a virus. I can install a worm. I can do all sorts of things, anything I want, because I'm an admin, okay? And that's what admins or root are designed to do. So the next one is a botnet, and the botnet is really interesting. This afternoon, one of our lectures is completely about botnets because they're really, really important and they're really, really dangerous, okay? So what a botnet is it's a computer that's infected with malware that creates a virtual network used by attackers to launch and perform malicious activities on computers and systems. So it'll create a virtual network. Are you familiar with virtual? Virtual, the word virtual? Yes. Yeah, so it's not, this would be a logical network, right? Because we're in the same room and these computers are side by side. So that's a logical. A virtual network is a network across the world. It's a network, but it's not in the same location. So as an example, this is you in Korea, this is me in California, okay? All of your computers, all 12 of you, and I'm not going to spell out 12, but think of one of these. These are your computers at home, okay? If we were to set up a network, this is me, if we were to set up a network with you in Korea and me here in California, that would be a virtual network. Because we're not here together in this room, we're spread out. You're in Korea, I'm in California, but we're still connected in a network. That would be a virtual network, understand? So what a botnet does is it creates a virtual network. The problem with the botnet is they're bad, right? It steals your computer and uses it as a botnet. So it's going to use the internet. This is the internet cloud. And it's going to go all around the world. It doesn't care where the computer is. The computer could be in Korea, it could be in South America, it could be in Canada, in Russia, it doesn't care. It's going to go out and infect whatever computer around the world that it can. Hundreds of thousands of computers it's going to infect all over the world. And then it's going to create a virtual network. Okay? And when I have those computers in a virtual network, we can now do whatever we want. And we'll talk about a botnet in deeper later this afternoon. Okay? The bot itself, or robot for short, is the computer. Okay, that's called the bot. And then the net is the whole network, or the virtual network. Okay? But again, we'll talk about that in detail later this afternoon. All right, so the next one is phishing. Are you familiar with phishing?
Yes.
What does phishing do? That's all right. So phishing is an email. You get an email and it tries to trick you. Okay, have any of you ever been fishing in real life? With a rod and you throw it in the ocean, right? You try and catch a fish. Has anybody ever caught a fish? No? Okay, that's all right. So that's typically what this is designed to do. Okay, so the criminals will send email to everyone. They'll send it to millions and millions of people, hoping that one person takes it. Okay, that one person actually receives the email and then answers it. Okay, it's used to lure, bring somebody in, trick you. Okay, it's lure a recipient to divulge personal information such as usernames, passwords, or credit card information. So it may say to you, this is your bank. You may get an email that is acting that it's your bank. And it's telling you that you have to change your username and password. Please click on this link. So you click on the link, it looks like your bank, and you try and change your username and password. That takes your information. Okay? Or it may tell you that you just won $2 million from the United States lottery, that they need your personal information in order to send you the money. That would be a fish. Okay? Trying to trick you into sending something you don't want, to steal your credentials. This happens a lot. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of phishing email that happen every single day. And it's used to steal identity, to steal information. The important thing to remember about phishing is it's an email. It's a simple email. Okay? It's not a virus, meaning it doesn't install on your computer. Right? It's not a backdoor. It's not installing something on your computer. It's basically trying to trick you, right? It's trying to make you think, oh no, this is a legitimate email. So it's a trick, and all it is email. That's why it's so successful, because it's just email. They don't have to get into your computer. They're trying to take information from you, okay? And then the last one is the buffer overflow. It's an application that is designed to crash your computer or crash a program. On your Windows computers, have you ever seen the blue screen when your computer crashes? It turns blue and it has all these numbers on it and then it reboots, right? That's what a buffer overflow is designed to do. And the thing about a buffer overflow is it can infect and damage any computer and any application. It's not just for Windows, it's any program. You can do Internet Explorer, it can do Chrome, it can do any browser, it doesn't matter. It's any application. Buffer overflows can be very, very annoying because it prevents your programs from working. You have a program on your computer, buffer overflow is designed to just crash it. It's really, really annoying. Okay, those are the malware types. So I skipped. Let me skip back to section 1 now, and we'll talk about some of the famous malware that's out there and how it's evolved from the early 1970s before any of us were born. So a quick description of malware. Malware is malicious code that is designed to specifically compromise, disrupt, and damage a computer. There are many types and forms, which we just discussed, but they all share a common goal of causing problems for computing devices and users. The important thing to remember about the term is that it's malicious software, right? It's code that is designed to do something. As you can think about the various types that we just discussed, virus, malware, or Trojan, rootkit, backdoor, they're all designed to do something bad, to harm your computer. We don't want those things, right? I don't want a rootkit on my computer that gives a bad guy root access. I don't want a virus that destroys all my files, right? Those are things I don't want. Those are things we don't want. Those are things that make our computers run really bad and slow and steal our information and delete our files. So it's malicious software. Software that's been coded and designed. It's really, really bad. We don't want it. Some of the types, okay? So the history of how malware has grown and evolved. So you think of when you were just a little kid, right? Maybe 5 years old, to where you are now. What is the difference? Other than you got taller, right? You got older, but what happens to your brain? Did you learn? Are you continuing to learn? You got smarter, right? From the time you were a little kid to now, the difference is you're also smarter. You've learned things. When you were a baby and you were born, could you speak? No, right? You had to learn how to speak, okay? You grew and you learned how things, okay? The English language, you had to learn that, correct? You had to go to school and learn the English language. Similar to me, if I wanted to learn Korean, I would have to go to school and learn Korean and grow. And we evolve, right? We get smarter as we go along. Same with malware. Malware has gotten smarter as it's grown, okay? And that's the dangerous thing about it, is as technology advances, as we get better computers and better phones and better systems, and the internet grows, malware just grows right along with it, okay? The growth in technology. The internet also provides an easy mechanism for malware, okay? Because the internet just connects all of us together, right? You can access Google from anywhere in the world. You can access Yahoo from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can access these websites, okay? And that's the problem with malware. And everybody has an email. Is there anybody in here that does not have an email address? Right, we all do, right? And remember with phishing, phishing uses email. And I'll show you a couple of viruses here that also use email as well. So that's the problem is as systems are evolving, computers are evolving, we're getting these various viruses that are getting more advanced. And we'll see here how they become more advanced. So 1971, that's before any of us were even born. I'm an old man, but trust me, that's before I was even born, okay? The creeper virus created in 1971 was similar to a game, okay? And what it would do is it would infect a computer and taunt. You familiar with taunt? The word taunt? Trick? Or annoy. Are you familiar with annoy? Any of you have little brothers or sisters? Yeah, brothers, sisters? Young ones?
No.
No? Older ones?
No.
So you probably annoyed them, right? So what it would do is it would try and taunt you, okay? It would use a computer and it would just come across your screen. So you would see a little creeper, doesn't look like that, but similar, it'd be moving across your screen and people would try and chase it with the mouse. That's all it was designed to do, right? Just annoy you. 1971, think of that. That was a long, long time ago, right? How many years was that? 46 years? 45 years? 44 years, right? Long, long time ago. 1978, okay, was the animal virus. Animal is recognized as one of the first Trojans. So in 1978 was when we started realizing, or when we thought that the first Trojan was made. And it was designed as a guessing game. So basically what it would do is it would ask you a question and you would guess the answer. That's all. Okay? The thing about it is it would pass itself to other computers. So in 1978, there were really, really old computers that were connected. It wasn't the internet. They couldn't do things like that. But they were machines that had a connection. And they could pass files back and forth. And that's what the animal Trojan would do. Is it was just a simple guessing game, but it would pass itself to the next computer. Okay? It wasn't really designed to create harm or do anything wrong, as similar to Creeper. It was just a game and an experiment, not designed to do anything. Okay? 1981. As we're moving forward, this is the Elk Cloner, and it was designed for the Apple II. Are you familiar with the Apple II or Apple computers? Okay. So it was designed in 81 for the Apple II computers, and it would infect floppy disks. Are you familiar with floppy disks?
Yes.
Okay, good. So it would infect a floppy disk. If you put the floppy disk into your computer, this Elk Cloner would infect the floppy disk. So anytime you use that floppy disk in any computer, it would infect it. And in the days of floppy computers, similar to thumb drives, we would share them. Right? Have you guys shared your thumb drive with each other at any time? Said, hey, I've got a file on here, try it. That's what we would do with floppy disks, similar. Anytime that I take a floppy disk and put it in the computer, Elk Cloner would infect the computer. And what it would do is it would put this on your screen. And it would say, the Elk Cloner, the program with a personality. It will get on all your disks. It will infiltrate your chips. Yes, it's Cloner. It will stick to you like glue. It will modify RAM too. That's all it would do. So the minute I put it in my computer, I would get this on my screen. Or anyone would get this on their screen. Okay? They'd have to reboot their computer and take the disk out. And it would go away. But the minute they put that same disk in, that's infected with the Elk Cloner, this would come back up on the screen. Really, really, really annoying. 1988. Now we talked about this a little bit in the first week. It's called the Morris worm, and the gentleman who created it was Robert Morris. Okay? What the Morris worm is, the first worm, the very first worm that was created, and it self-propagated, meaning it didn't need anything to transfer. It did it itself. It transferred itself. So a worm, once it infected, it would automatically infect all the other computers. Right? So remember with the Elk Cloner, I had to put a disk in the computer. Worms don't do that. All a worm has to do is infect one computer, and it'll infect everybody else that's on the network, even a virtual network like the internet. Okay? So this spread really, really quick, and it started bringing down the internet in 1988, and nobody knew what the problem was. But Robert did. The guy who created it, Robert Morris, he knew what it was because he wrote it, okay? And so as the internet was coming down and all the security experts and network experts were trying to figure out what was going on, he finally told them. Not only did he tell them, but he took his source code that created the worm and he posted it on the internet for anybody. And the reason he did that, he said he was trying to help people, that if he showed them the code, that they could fix the problem. The issue with that was now he just showed the world how to create a worm, right? So he showed the good guys and the bad guys of how to create a worm, and that's how it started. So now everybody in the world has the source code of how to create a worm, and now a worm has just completely evolved. Okay, so the important thing to remember is this was the very first worm, the Robert Morris worm. In 2000 is one of the first email malware that started coming out, okay? And this was a email with an attachment that said love letter or I love you. Very, very enticing, okay? Because if you see an email from a friend that says I love you as an attachment, how many of you would click on it? You probably would, right? Let's say you received one from someone in this class. You're familiar with each other. They sent you an email that has an attachment that says I love you. You'd be thinking, what the heck? What is this? And you would probably click on it, okay? This email contained an attachment titled I love you. Once users clicked on the attachment, you're familiar with attachment, right? Email attachment? Okay. Yeah? So it would be in that email. And once you clicked on that attachment, it would overwrite all the pictures on your computer. So every picture you had on your computer, this virus, this malware, would destroy it. So the minute you clicked on that email link on the attachment, it would start looking at your computer, and any picture you had on there, it would delete it. Right? Really, really bad. How many of you have pictures on your computers? Most of you do, I'm sure, right? and this virus would delete them. It'd get rid of all of them, okay? Not only that, but what it would do is it would now email itself to your users in your contact list. Do you have email contact lists? So in your email, do you have names of your friends of who to save emails and who to send emails to? This virus would look at your address book in your email and then automatically send the virus. Automatically, without you doing anything. I was one of the first emails that started doing that. Okay, very smart virus. Because now, not only does it infect your computer, but it's now going to send email to people you know, right? People that are in your address book, that your friends and family, or whomever it may be, and it's going to send it. So it was very destructive, and it was very smart because it knew that if I send an email to a friend that says I love you, chances of you clicking on that are pretty good, right? Pretty good. Code Red. This was a really bad one. It did website defacements. So this was in 2001 is when Code Red came out. And what it did is it exploited a flaw in Microsoft Internet Server. So it found a vulnerability. You remember vulnerability, right? That's a weakness in the system. So IIS is a web server, okay? So what it did is it found the vulnerability in the web server in IIS, and then it installed a worm, okay? And what the worm did is it defaced, right? You're familiar with deface? It would change a web server or a website, and it would also bring it down. So what the worm would do is when you would go to your website, it would say, welcome to worm.com hacked by Chinese. So if I would try to go to any website that had Code Red, that's what I would see. Instead of the website, I would get this screen right here. So as an example, let's say I tried to go to Google. If Google was infected by Code Red, when I went to Google, that's what it would say. The important thing about this is it compromised the White House. You familiar with the White House? That's where the American president lives, right? That's the White House. But they also have a website. So the funny thing about this one is it infected that website. So if you tried to go to whitehouse.gov, which is their website, that's what you would see. Okay? And it spread really fast. That's one of the important things about it is it spread really fast. Not only that, but you see that it says hacked by Chinese. So this is one of the first malware that started coming from a nation, right? Not by a group or not by a person, not by a single hacker, but was triggered by or authored by a nation. 2003 is Slammer. You'll notice what types of viruses are we seeing now? So we have the Morris worm. This is a worm. Code Red is a worm. So just 3 years later, we have advanced worms now. That's kind of the trend that we'll see is everything starts to advance into a worm. 2003 was the Slammer. Okay, this one was really bad. It still is actually. And what it did is it would disrupt public and private internet services. So it would look at any internet service. So a public internet would be like this, right? Like anything here. And then private would be your internet at home. So this one was designed to shut off personal internet, our own internet at home, and then try and shut down the internet altogether. Okay? And it was basically a huge denial of service. I mean, it was one of the biggest out there. Even to this day, SQL Slammer and Slammer did a lot to destroy the internet because it's a denial of service and it's a worm. So remember, a worm will continue to infect. That's what this would do. And not only would it infect things, but then it would also use all of those computers to start doing denial of services throughout the whole internet. It didn't matter where the computer was. All it had to do was find one, and then it started spreading out. Okay? And it would hit every single possible computer that it could to make things extremely difficult. Fizzer. Now the important thing about Fizzer, in 2003, as you can see that's money on the side, this was one of the first ones that actually started doing it for money. some of the first worms, some of the first malware that we've seen from 1971 up until 2001 were basically designed just to disrupt, just to cause problems, just to cause mayhem or make people mad. Now it starts to change. People want to make money from this, right? It's all about profit now. 2003 was one of the first ones. Fizzer was considered one of the first malware for financial gain. What it would do is it would send spam email. Are you familiar with spam emails? Okay, it's just like an advertisement, right? You really don't care. But what it would do is it would send spam email for pornography and pharmaceuticals. Are you familiar with pharmaceuticals? Medicine?
Yes.
Yeah. So it would send ads for pornography and medicine, or one or the two, to everyone in your email list. So as an example, if it infected your computer, then it would now go into your email and look at everybody that you email to, or anybody that's in your address book, and it's going to send them ads for pornography. Really bad, right? Or ads for medicine. Really, really bad. And these were legitimate sites, and they did it for money. But again, as you can see, it starts using your email address book, and it's going to send email to your friends, to your family, to your contacts, people you know that's infected. Made things really, really difficult. My Doom, this was in 2004. Okay, and it was really bad because it actually infected close to 1 million computers. Are you familiar with that number? 1 million? That's a lot, right? Yeah, that's a ton of computers. So in 2004, it infected all these computers and tried to launch a distributed denial of service attack. You're familiar? Have we talked about distributed denial of service? So we know a denial of service is sent to shut a computer down. A distributed denial of service would be all million of those computers attacking one person, okay, or attacking one website. My Doom was designed to create all these computers, take all these computers and start attacking at the same time. And it was spread through email as well. So you would get an email attachment. And then what it would do as well is once you got it, it would send it to everybody in your contact list. Or it would look at your sent items. You're familiar with sent items in your email? It would look for email that you have sent to people, and then it would infect those emails and resend them out. Okay, so it was trying to spread to as many people as it could for a denial of service. Poison Ivy. Now this one was really interesting. It was created in 2005, and it was a remote access Trojan. So what it would do is once it infected your computer, it would allow full control of your computer through a back door. So I would install it through a Trojan, it would install a back door, and now I had full access to your computer and you didn't even know it. Not only that, but I could remote control it. Are you familiar with remote control? So I could remote control your computer. I now had full access of your computer from anywhere in the world. Okay? The bad thing about Poison Ivy is what it would do is it could also turn on your speaker in your computer, and it could turn on your webcam. You're familiar with webcam, right? It could turn on your camera in your computer, and it could record you, and you wouldn't even know it. It was really bad for a long time. Several people throughout the world had this, and what happened is they would record them doing things, and then they would post it on the internet, and they wouldn't even know it. And then they could take full control of their computer to do whatever they wanted. 2007 was Zeus. And Zeus is still used today, okay? Still used to this very day. And it's created, and it's available for sale to cyber criminals. So it's a package designed for anybody to steal personal and banking information. So what the bad guys, what the criminals will do is they'll create a package of Zeus. And within that package, like a Trojan, is going to have all sorts of malware in it. And it's going to be designed for something. As an example, let's say that you want to hack the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay? It wouldn't be good, but let's say that's what you want to do. You could you take your hat off. You could go to these cyber criminals, and they would create a Zeus package designed specifically to hack the Dodgers. Okay? So it's for sale. the criminals will create this malware for you that you can now go in and steal personal and banking information from whomever you designed it to do. Okay? So it's a customizable package of malware that is designed that you can go onto the net and buy. Okay? It's for purchase and it's customizable. It's still used to this day. 2008 was Agent. Okay? Agent was very, very important. Okay? So Agent spreads to infected thumb drives. Okay? And it was designed to steal data from the United States Pentagon. Are you familiar with the Pentagon?
Yes.
So that's a big military building in the U.S. where all the secret things go down. And it was designed for the Pentagon specifically. So it would infect any USB drive or any USB thumb drive. The minute you plugged it in, it would start uploading data to the thumb drive and then sending it out on a website. And it would do this for every single thumb drive that got infected. So if I had a thumb drive and it was infected, when I put it on this computer, it would now infect this computer and then infect all the other computers. And all I had to do was put a thumb drive in, similar to the floppy disk. The interesting thing about this one, and the important part of this one, is this one was designed specifically just for the Pentagon. It wasn't malware that was just for anybody around the world. It was designed specifically just for the Pentagon, and that's all it was used for. Let me show you real quick. This one is one of the most important pieces of malware out there. Configure is very, very, very complex. Let me show you this real quick just to talk about configure.
The internet is infected. Malicious computer hackers have been creating more and more weapons that they plant on the internet. They call their weapons viruses and worms. They're creepy, crawly, toxic software that contaminate our computers without our ever knowing it. You can be infected by simply visiting your favorite website or just by leaving your computer on overnight while you sleep. And the problem is growing exponentially. Last year, the number of infections tripled, and an entire industry of computer security professionals is in a race to keep the hackers from their goal, which is usually to steal your money. One of the most dangerous threats ever, a computer worm known as Configure, is spreading through the internet right now. By some estimates, 10 million computers have been infected worldwide. At Symantec, the company that makes Norton's antivirus software, engineers have been tracking Configure since last November as it worms its way across the globe.
This map is showing a visual representation of where all of the known infections of Configure are across the world.
This is Configure. Vice President Steve Trilling says the worm is now living on millions of computers, mainly in corporations. So far, the bad guys who created it haven't triggered Configure. It's just sitting out there like a sleeper cell.
Imagine a network of spies that has infiltrated a country, and every day all of the spies are calling in for their instructions on what to do next.
What's the worm being asked to do?
That's the interesting thing. The only thing the worm is being asked to do is to ask for further instructions.
So we're talking several months.
That's right.
Several months, it's just been sitting there.
That's exactly right.
I don't know, I'm hearing Jaws music. It's that ominous, because once the hackers issue instructions, Configure could turn menacing in an instant. With one click, the worm's creator can instruct it to suck sensitive data like bank passwords and account numbers out of millions of computers, or launch a massive spam attack to clog up the works. The newest targets of worms are social networking sites. Trilling showed us how it might work. So is this a real Facebook page?
This is a real Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
And we added a friend and colleague, Morley Safer. You can see down there in the left.
He says a worm can crack into a Facebook account like Morley's and send a message to anyone on his friends list. We have a message from Morley. A message I'm sure to open since it comes from a trusted friend. Quick there it says, ha ha ha, check out this hilarious video of you.
That's right. So
Well, I would do that. I took the bait, and by clicking on the video link,
something looks a little off.
very off. Am I already infected just by that?
You're already infected.
That quickly.
That quickly.
As Trilling demonstrated on the second screen, the hacker owned me.
From here on out, as we'll see, everything you do is going to show up on the hacker's machine.
So when I typed my username and password into a bank website, it appeared instantly on the hacker screen along with my bank account details. Everything I type shows up here.
Every single keystroke you hit. In fact, if you make a mistake and hit a backspace, that shows up in the window.
The hacker then followed me around as I browsed the internet, from CBS News
Take a look at what the
Oh,
hackers
my
did.
goodness.
That's exactly where you are.
to Amazon.com. So if I buy something, they're going to have my credit card.
Everything you type in, your address, your credit card, it's all going to show up in that window.
The internet has become a minefield. Hackers have hidden their malicious software, known as malware, on some of the most trusted websites, like eBay, the Miami Dolphins football team, even myBarackObama.com. Trilling says too few people have top-notch, up-to-date security software. There is something that would have prevented me from answering Morley's message, or I would never have gotten Morley's message.
As soon as you clicked on that link and you had security software, you would immediately get an alert. This is a bad website, and it would have blocked the attack. You would have never been hit. Putting on that software, you're preventing yourself from becoming a victim.
But according to Symantec's own figures, the hackers are inventing 10 to 15,000 new infections every day, designed specifically to get around the latest antivirus protections. Symantec has to send out updates every 5 minutes. You sell this. You sell the antivirus, anti-worm stuff. How do I know you're not just saying go out and get this because you sell it? I mean, you know, there's a sort of conflict of interest here.
Well, look, Leslie, in 60 minutes, we are blocking nearly 400,000 threats around the world. If you're going out on the internet and you're not protected, it's like walking out of your house and leaving the door open.
But Mary Rappaport says all the doors on her home computer were locked tight. She had antivirus software and a firewall, and so she thought she was safe to do her banking online. But then she noticed something odd going on and called the bank.
They told me that 3 charges in the last 3 days had been made to my account. One for $3,000, one for $4,000, and one for $1,200.
Were you having a heart attack?
Well, you know, I had a sense that time was of the essence.
The bank replaced the stolen money and suggested that she merely change her password. That was to be the end of it. But the next day, she was checking her balance,
And I saw $1,000 being moved from my son's savings account into my checking account.
you saw
Right before my eyes, I saw my money being moved.
a hacker was trying to move all her money into one account, her checking account, to make it easier to transfer overseas. Luckily, the bank was able to freeze her accounts before she lost any more money.
I had what I thought were adequate protections. You know, I had anti-spyware software and antivirus, and I thought I had a good enough firewall. Wrong. And my understanding, anyway, is that they were able to get some sort of a bug onto my system that disabled the ability to update the software firmwares. Right.
You guys want some popcorn? Mary suspects her teenage sons picked up the bug while downloading from music or game websites. But it could have come from any number of websites.
So tell me what Google is actually doing.
To deal with some of
Yes,
these big problems.
yes.
Because Google's search engine is what most people use to surf the net, we went to talk to Vint Cerf, one of the founding fathers of the internet, and now a vice president at Google. The company itself says that 1 in every 100 Google searches brings up an infected site.
People are blaming Google, because if you do the search, they say, you know, Google should be responsible if we get infected.
I think
Now, you've heard that.
I think that. I have heard that, and I think that's a very bizarre way of looking at things.
Google's position is that it's not the policeman of the internet, but its engineers do scour the web and issue warnings about malicious infections or malware.
If we happen to see what we believe is malware on that website, then when you go there, we will pop up a web page that says, we think we found malware on this site, maybe you don't want to go there.
Now, I understand that if you go there anyway, Google send you a second warning.
Well,
saying, are you serious? We just told you not to go there. Something like that.
of course, people still go, and at that point, it's their problem.
You know, the more you hear about this, the more you feel that if you bank online, shop online, open an email, I mean, that almost anything you do puts you in jeopardy.
Actually, that's a true statement, that there are things, bad things can happen. On the other hand, I've been on the net ever since the net started, and I haven't had any of the bad problems that you described.
But tens of millions of people have. 1 in 4 Americans, according to recent reports, as the hackers get more and more sophisticated.
I'm told that you're a hacker hunter. Is that correct?
That's a good way to put it.
Don Jackson is Director of Threat Intelligence at SecureWorks in Atlanta, which protects corporations against cyber attacks and tracks the hackers who launch them.
Part of my job is to know the enemy, to know our adversaries.
So the enemy is a hacker?
That's right. An enemy is somebody that wants to use computers to hurt somebody else or to make money for themselves.
Using an assumed name, Gozi, Jackson infiltrates chat rooms where hackers sell their worms and viruses to their clients, other hackers. He asks for a demo so his company can create software to disable the malware. The hackers, he says, are typically young, male, and often from Russia.
How do you track them down?
Well, they're like any other business. They have to advertise to get clients.
You're saying that the hackers have ads
Yes.
on the internet.
On the internet, publicly available.
No.
Unfortunately, they're all too easy to find.
On websites like this one, he says many Russian hackers are in cyber gangs that display fascist symbols like swastikas and anti-American artwork. And they boast about all the dollars they've stolen from the rich Americans. A single hacker can make $30,000 a month and be championed in local newspapers.
There was an example recently where 2 boys were arrested, actually, and then let go the next day. But the article in the newspaper wasn't that they were arrested, that they committed a crime, but saying, look at our 2 local boys made good. They cheated some greedy Westerners out of so much money.
They're heroes.
They are.
It's not known who's behind the computer worm Configure, whether it's a gang of Russian hackers or some solitary evil genius. This worm is wily. It keeps mutating. Security software companies have been kept very busy.
You're locked down, eh?
But Configure can jump over protections. While we were reporting this story in early March, we were stunned to learn that the wily worm had struck us right here at CBS News.
People were having problems with their BlackBerries, their logons.
Louis Pelez, a network engineer, says Configure is so aggressive it took technicians here 24/7 over 10 days to hunt down and quarantine the affected computers.
Do you actually know where it started? Can you pinpoint it?
We really will probably never know exactly how it infected the network. We just know that, once it hit, it began to propagate.
CBS News has now contained the infection, but Pelez says Configure could still be hiding undetected somewhere within the network.
Did you think CBS is safe? Was that in your head, we're safe? Or did you think this could happen?
No, I pretty much thought that we were, pretty solid. You try to secure a network, but there's no guarantee that somebody can't come up with something that will, wreak havoc.
Configure investigators have been talking about an April Fool's attack because in dissecting the worm, they can see it's been programmed to receive new instructions on April 1st. But nobody knows if the instructions will be benign or something that could disrupt the entire internet.
Okay, so important thing to take away from that is, like I said,
Thursday morning repair shop. Time for another random act of helpness. Is your car?
This is my car.
What's wrong?
10,000, 15,000 new malware every 60 minutes. Every 60 minutes. All the malware we've talked about today, there's new ones created. Okay? Not only that, but 10,000 to 15,000 of them every hour. And Cyber criminals can make 30,000 US dollars in 1 month. That's quite a bit. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll take 10 minutes. We'll meet back here at 1/4 after. Sound good? All right.